all heard in one or two times of our life, or sometime in our life, that the word sort, or like for example, sometimes we're told to sort this plates in this order, or sort it in from alphabetically, or sort it in some way, right? But we have never actually wondered what is sorting in computer world. But today, you yourself are here in this video to learn about sorting. Now, I cannot teach you the whole sorting of every kind, but I will make separate videos for those. But the first sorting method that I will teach you here is called the bubble sort. Now, bubble sort is one of my favorite sorts because it's easy and it's pretty good, in my own opinion, for small arrays or small data sets. Now, I will give you the definition that Google provides me with that is kind of good for me. Bubble sort, sometimes referred to as sinking sort, is a simple sorting algorithm that repeatedly steps through the list, compares adjacent elements, and swaps them if they are in the wrong order. The pass through the list is repeated until the list is sorted. This is a perfect definition. So what it means is that basically the initial, you have like a data set or an array or unsorted something, right? What bubble sort is doing is it takes the first and then the second, and it compares them. If it sees if the first one is larger than the second one, then what it does is takes the second one to the first place, and then this compares the 5 to 8, and then to 4, and then to 6. No, the only thing it does is just swaps those two numbers, like swaps the 5 with the 4, and so on and so forth. Now, if you see here the second the second step, it compares 5 with 8, but as you can see, 8 is bigger than 5, so it just leaves 5 in its own position, and it takes 8 as its number and swaps it with number 4, because number 4 is smaller than this, and then it goes to compares it with number 6, and then swaps that one with the 8, and then the 8 goes to number 6, and so on and so forth, and it goes and goes and goes until the whole array is sorted in, like for example, the first number is the 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 8. That'll be the sorted array. Now, here is an animation that I think is pretty good. Let me just make it a little bit faster. If you see here, it compares 48, and then once it gets to the 46, see, and then see, and then once it gets to 50, see, it'll leave the 40 in its own place, and then it'll start again comparing the first two numbers, and then it'll go through the loop until, let me see, make it a little bit more faster. See, if you see the code, it's all here and everything too, and it'll go until it compares the whole array. This is sorting with a bubble sort. It just compares each two elements that are side by side and takes the bigger number and moves on until the whole array is sorted out like this. See, unsorted array to a sorted array. Now let's just make a bubble sort program ourselves. Now, I will be using C++ here, but I promise you the whole process is the same in any other language that you see. Now, before videos, I would use an algorithm, but today I cannot use an algorithm because the video will be too long if I use that. So let's start. Now here, once we did that, we need to make an array. Now you can make an array that is static, like you can just give them some numbers, or you can make an array that the numbers changes every time you run the program. So just to have a little bit more fun, I'll just make it so the numbers just swap every time I run the program. So I will just make it a random array. Now to do that, you need to add a new library called ctime, and I will just add this other library because we will need it, and later csc. Alright, once we did that, then for the bubble sort you can make a different another function too, but I will not make another function. I'll just add the whole thing, and man, even though it's not a good practice to do that, but let's just do it here. So the first thing we need to do is just create a random time that every time it runs, it's a random. Once we did that, then we need to make a size for the array. So for this example, I will just make the size to 20. Oh shit, my bad. Size equal 20. Once we did that, now we need to make an array. Let's just call it array, and then we give it the parameter size the elements should be the size amount of elements in this array. Okay, once we did strand is unidentified. I think it's my own the compiler. Just don't worry about that. It'll be good in the compiler. Once we did that, then we need to create a new variable called int I, so we can use it like in everywhere instead of making the I everywhere, right? Let's just make it I, and then now let's just create a new loop for the array to fill the array with numbers. I equals 0, I to 20, or I to the size instead of just making it 20. So it'll be, we can just change this one number and the whole thing will be changed. That'll be good practice right there too. And then let's just say int random equal rand percentage of this sign, I don't know what this is, and then let's just say size. So let's just take numbers from 0 to 20 and we just give it those random numbers. Or we could just say, for example, like 100, from 0 to 100, and then we will just say array of the size is equal to rand, which is this random numbers each time it goes, and it'll just fill up the whole array. Okay, once we did that, now we need to just see what numbers we get, and we will just call it unsorted array, and we will just print the whole array. Now to print the whole array, we have to just make another for loop and then make is I equals 0, and then I to the size I plus plus, and then we just say that print me the array of I each time. Oh, here I shouldn't have wrote the size because the I is what goes on, not the whole size thing. So it'll be for example from 0 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3. But if I write just the size, it'll be like the 20th number will be the random, and then the array will be just a messed up thing. So I'll just do that, and then I will just give it a space. So, or I could just do this, and then let's just do that. Alright, once we did that, let's just make compiler work. bsort.cpp. Alright, so here's our array. Oh, let's just give it see a new line so we can see it properly, and then here is our array. It is 20 numbers from random numbers from 1 to 100. So this is our unsorted array. Now we need to sort it out. How do we sort it? Here is how we sort it. We create a new integer called temp, just to hold the temporary value of the array, which will be in the sort. And then we need to create a new loop for the first loop, the first pass, and then we make it to the size, because it will have to run to the size times, right? So, and then I plus plus, and then enter. Now once we did that, now since the bubble sort is a loop, and then it's loops in a loop, so it'll go like size times, and it'll to go to this, like the size time loop will take another loop inside it. Each time the size goes up 1, then there will be another loop will go like randomly. That'll be, so if it is 10, the loop will go 10 times, but then not only 10 times, the loop will go inside this loop that we are creating now. This loop will go 10 times, or for example in this case 20 times, but then the data inside it will go as many times as we, for example, say here in j equals 0, this times they will go to we'll just make it I, so every time it goes there'll be another a new iteration, and then we'll just go j plus plus, and we will say another if loop, because this is just a comparison. If array of I was bigger than array of j, it means that if the first iteration was bigger than the second iteration, then you do this, you swap, you take the temporary file And then we could just use the swap of function here, but we don't have to do that. We just have to write our own function. It's a good practice to write your own function for now, and then later do the other one. We just have to do temp equal to array I, and then array I, make that, because it's bigger than the array of j, right? So it'll go to the right and leave the take the array of j to the left, so we'll just make it to the array of j. And then the temporary value will be this one, and then you take this one to the j, and then make the j to the temporary. Array of j iteration is equal to temp. Easy. Alright, perfect. So it's pretty much the bubble sort is done. Now let's just do this. Copy this one and paste it here, and then let's just say sorted array, and we'll just give it a new line, and then our sorted array will go I times, and perfect. So, and let's just say a new line. Yep. Yeah, sure. We'll just see out a new line here too. All right. So this is our loop, and then what this will do is oh, now I get it. Cause okay, all right. Okay, yeah. So that was that issue. Okay, so what this program basically is done is it takes a random number, which is and then that random number, it assigns it to the ran, and then that ran is a random number, and then it makes a new random array of size 20. Once it does that, then the size we first print actually the unsorted array, which all of them are just the random numbers, right? Which we saw in here. And then what it does is it makes the array, it sorts the array by here. This whole loop is just a sorting array, and then once it does that, then it goes and then it prints the sorted array. Now let's see if our program works. So let's just save it, and then let's just make it clear. Once we did that, we just have to just bsort.cpp. Okay, and I have a few errors here. It's because of my program, I don't know what happened to my IDE, but since I updated my computer, it just happens that I'll fix it. But it's not something to be worried about, because I know what those errors are. Now let's just run the program. Perfect. Yeah, it works. See? It compares 94 to 97. It takes 97 to this one. Now let me see here if I can actually create array. No. Array of I and array. Well, our program is basically done. Of course, if you want to just to learn that one, you can just go. You basically learn it. But what I'm doing here is I'm trying to see if I can figure out a way to just see like when it compares, like the first comparison and then the second comparison and then the third one. If it works here, or that'll be great. If not, then it's okay. I mean, we finished our purpose. Okay. What? Okay. 24 to 17. And 17 is equal to 2. 20, it'll be 16. Why 17? There's no 17 in here. What the? Well. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, here. 2189, and then 89 to 20 to 17, but then it will go that way. This will go this way. 89, 21, 21 and 17. Okay, so I think it's like this. Any number that is in here that is smaller than nah. You know what? There's a lot of comparisons here. I don't know if I can. Let me see here. How good would it be if it works? It would be so good because it works. See? The first iteration, it takes 51, compares it with itself. It's same thing. So it takes 51 compared to 35. Now 51 is bigger than 35. So it takes 35 and it brings it to the side, and then it compares 35 to 91, and then no, that's not true. It doesn't compare that. It takes 51. Yeah, here it's correct. It's here. Those are the numbers that are after the 51. So 51 to 91, and then to 48, and then all the way up there, and then 91 to there. Okay, so I don't know how, but I need to figure out a way to actually to get rid of all these things. Like why is it comparing this one to that? Because that is not true. It's not actually comparing it. So, or what if we do this? What if we make this array of j, array of I, C out, okay. J plus plus. Okay, so our first number is 44, it compares it with 75, and then it compares 75 with 40, and then 75 with 28, and then 28 to 99. But since 75, 99 is bigger than that, so it compares, it brings this one to the back in the hand. You cannot tell me that you actually did that. That is just weird. I mean, I don't know how to find this way. Okay, so I think if I figure it out, I would probably share it in my Instagram story or something. But I don't think if I would. But I should. I mean, if you guys did it, if you guys found a way, that'll be really cool of you guys if you actually share it with me, and then I will learn something too. If not, here's your program, and it works. Be happy. There's unsorted array, and here is your bubble sorting array. Now I showed you the animation of how it does. So it just takes compares the right to left, and then if the left was bigger, it takes the left. If the right was bigger, and then it takes that, compares it with another right, and if that one was bigger, then it takes the right, and then compares it with that one. So yeah, try it out and see if you figure out something. But basically, the only thing to take of this video is that you need to make a new variable, and then make that variable store the value of I if the array of the first iteration was bigger than the array of the second iteration. Then store it to the I, and then make the first iteration equal to the second iteration, and make the second iteration equal to the value of the first iteration. So yeah, basically that's all it takes, and good luck.